Welcome to our daily co-working. This is our 12 Eastern session. We have the sessions twice a day. And we're on this session, on these calls, we answer questions about SpeakerHub from our users, and we're open to any speakers who want to learn more about the speaking business. So Kathleen, happy to answer
Thank
your
you.
question.
Thanks so much. So I was trying to find out where the information is on the site for the done for you portion of the service. That's my first question. And the second one is what is the fastest way, the quickest way, I guess, is what I'm looking for to create an ebook. I need to create an ebook. And I know a couple of weeks ago, Ron talked about, and I'm kind of new to a lot of this technology, but there's a barcode like the one you have on the back of your screen, where I can actually have someone like scan, they can download the ebook. So those are my two questions for today.
Okay, perfect. We can answer those, definitely answer those. So to answer your first question, how do you sign up for Done For You? You'll set up a call with Ron, one-on-one.
Okay.
I will put the link to his calendar in the chat, and you can set up a call with him to discuss that and what you're looking for there.
Okay.
And then how to write an ebook quickly so that you want to create a lead magnet, a gift for people when they sign up for your QR code.
Well, preferably something I can sell. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Either or, but yeah, I thought they would be the same. One would be, I thought whether
Sure.
it's for sale or whether it's free or just a lead magnet, it would be the same process, but it's a different
It
process for
is.
both.
Oh,
Okay.
it's completely the same process.
Okay.
The same process. The how soon? Well, it's pretty simple to create an ebook.
Uh-huh.
You have the contents written. Help me understand where you are in the process so that so I can better understand how to answer the question.
Well, I've written books before, and one of my books is actually in ebook form, but I wanted to just make something really short, and I didn't want to go through the process of actually writing a book. So maybe use AI to write a quick ebook on how to, you know, make your dreams come true, somewhere along that line, and just be able to have that barcode to be able to for the client to be able to download it.
Okay, perfect. So yes, you can use Chat GPT. You can put in your framework or your topic and then ask it to write an ebook for you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way
Okay.
that you can
Now
do it.
another basic, but sounds basic to some, but now I do have Chat GPT on my cell phone, but I
Mhm.
have yet to figure out how to get it and use it on my laptop. Is that even a possibility?
It
Oh,
is,
great.
absolutely. You'll just go to chatgpt.com on your desktop, on your
Uh-huh,
laptop,
uh-huh.
and it's the same.
Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
you'll be able to use it there.
Okay. In the barcode.
The barcode. So what you're looking at here is the
Yeah.
QR code.
Yeah.
This is inside the app. This doesn't allow people to purchase though. The QR
Okay.
code isn't for purchase. If you want to sell your ebook, you can either put it on your website and then create an item in your cart. You can create it depends on your website.
Okay.
You can sell through your website. There's some people who sell their ebooks in other places, but you can sell it on your website. So without knowing the hosting of your site, it's hard for me to be able to give you exact direction on that. But it is, so once you finish the content of your book, then you'll have to get a book cover and then you'll be able to upload it to sell on your website.
Yeah, I
Ron,
mean,
you can
I
hop
think
in
that,
here.
yeah. Good to see everybody. I think the easiest thing to do is to go ahead and get the book done first.
Yeah.
And because I mean, if you try to do all 8 steps, you're just gonna have more questions with each one. So if you go ahead and get the book, do the outline for the book. The one thing about ChatGPT is that you got to remember it's still a machine that's writing the book for you. So it's not going to have any personalized stories. So it's going to feel a bit inauthentic in a lot of ways because it's not telling. There's the old saying that says more is caught than taught, meaning that I learn more from listening to a story than if you tried to give me a lecture on it. And ChatGPT, since it hasn't lived a life, it really doesn't tell really good stories, right? But if you can weave your stories into it, you know what I mean? If you can weave your stories into it, then the book becomes a bit more relevant. But we can talk about that in another thing. I don't want to go through a whole day of how to do a book, but it's not as difficult as you think it is, but it's not as easy as somebody may have made it sound also on the internet. So there's usually this kind of balance between it's probably not that hard, but it probably ain't that easy either. You know what I mean?
Got it. So, Ron, with the done for you, is it monthly or is it annual? What are the options?
Yep. So with done for you, basically people it's a 6-month commitment for us to
Okay.
do it for you. And we reach out to 500 opportunities for you every month. So whatever plan you're on, we just add 500 to it and we do the outreach for you on your behalf. Someone on our team will do the outreach on your behalf to associations, conferences, and podcasts on your behalf, right?
And it's a 6-month commitment.
6-month commitment to doing it.
Okay.
Yep, that's pretty much how it works. But I can talk to you about it outside of here. It's not that.
Okay, so here's the thing, thank you. Here's the thing I'm running into with my podcast, right? So I am pitching, I am getting responses. A lot of them are kind of catch-22. I won't go into that. But for the most part, when it comes to sending in the information they need, and sometimes they want quite a bit of information. So I know that AI will send the initial pitch and the follow-up pitch, but then when they're asking for more information, is there anything inside of your program?
No, because
Okay.
yeah, we don't have anything that fills out the applications for you because that's the every podcast has different requirements.
Okay.
But that's the part that separates those who get booked and those who don't, right? It's like you filling out those applications are really important because they know more about what you're doing, right? And how you fit. So I mean there's just no need to do it at this point.
Yeah, I get it. Okay, well, thank you so much. That's all I had to ask. I appreciate your time.
We'll help you though. Set up a time. Let's grab a time and I'll walk you through it and we can get Liliana or someone that can do the pitches for you. We're not against it.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yep, we got you. We'll take care of you. All right, so good to see everybody. AJ, Cardis, Lawrence, Sharon, John Diggs is back. Jasmine, Saran, Chantel, Arain. Good to see everybody. Arain getting his hair did, whatever it was. It looked like Raiden from Mortal Kombat with that Mortal Kombat. Here's Arain. He over there with that thing on his head, getting his hair blow dried or whatever. That thing got to be hot, but that's what he's doing. So welcome to the 12 o'clock call. I'm Ron Story, the head of membership product, head janitor at SpeakerHub. We're here with Angela, and I don't think anyone else from our team is here, but it's good to see everybody. This is where we answer all of your calls or all of your questions about getting booked on for speaking gigs, podcasts, and things of that sort. I think we have one new person here today, which is Ian. So Ian, if you want to introduce yourself to us, tell us a little bit about what you speak about and your story. Take a minute to do that, 60 seconds. That would be great.
Yeah, thanks, Ron. Thanks for introducing me. Thanks for having me on the call, everyone. I definitely appreciate it. So my name's Ian McGann. I'm from the Philadelphia area. I've had a very colorful life. Tough upbringing with family dynamic. Was out on my own pretty early, 16. Yeah, kind of went through the school of hard knocks, and then came back and successfully achieved the American dream. Decided to start a company, started a company, fought for market share, hit my 30-year goal in 9 years. Had 11 employees, $1 million top line revenue. At the 15th year, I sold the company for a profit to my top competitor, actually one of my top competitors in the area. Fast forward another year, had a massive brainstem stroke that left me paralyzed in half. 50% of my body was completely paralyzed. Then I used my method for going about life, and I walked out of the rehabilitation center completely unassisted in 3 weeks. So yeah, something I do works. I'd love to share it with people and tell them how they can do it too. I mean, I'm the same as you and me. Got a great mindset. Use I am affirmations. Really dialed into the wellness community. I do a lot of yoga. Utilize plant medicines, cannabis, psilocybin, and yeah, always speak my truth. So really, really authentic, and I'd like some people to learn, if they want to, how I did it. I'd love to share my experience, and maybe others can heal themselves and overcome obstacles that are in their path. So last week, I was about to cancel my SpeakerHub subscription. I got an email, and I was like, hey, is this a scam? Are you trying to sell me more shit? And then they were like, hey, no, this is Ron's assistant. Do you want to have a meeting with Ron? And I was like, you know what? Why don't I have a meeting with this guy, Ron, before I cancel this thing? So I've been trying to talk on my experience I just hit my 21-month mark on the stroke. I've been really trying to talk about it for 20 months. As the second I walked out from rehab, I was like, everybody needs to know how to do this shit. So I had a call with Ron today, and he suggested I sit in on this call. And I'm here sending podcast pitch right now and listening to you guys. So that's kind of a little bit about my story. It's really gnarly. I've had like run-ins with bears. I got sued for $167,000 when I was 25. I've had all types of shit that I've overcome. And I'm really just looking to share it now and let people know that they can overcome anything in their path. So thanks for having me.
Thanks, Ian. Thank you so much for joining us and for sharing that bit. We can tell that you've overcome a lot, and that's incredible. So you're in the right place.
Cool.
So you're in the right place. So excited to hear more about how we can help you and use SpeakerHub to share your message.
Yeah, I'll tell you how people can help me. Show me the money.
You're in the right place because we're about money here.
Good.
So you are definitely in the right place.
Good. So like minds, let's go.
Any wins or lessons over the last couple of days? Any new bookings? Anything of that sort?
Yeah, so firstly about what Ian just said, that is an absolutely massive come up story in so many different ways. Like
Oh, no.
especially, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you a little bit.
Okay, yeah, I'm on the train right now, so I'm gonna try to make this fast. But yeah, Ian, that's just a very massive come up story. And as far as bookings go, I have one with a podcast coming up that's like, I forgot the exact name of it, but it's one of the top 2% globally for leadership in the world. So that's going to be a massive opportunity. I do have to pay for the spot, but it's a great investment in my future.
Oh yeah, no, I mean that's all that matters, man. High five to you, man. Keep going. Lawrence is one of our under 21 speakers. He's 19 years old, making a huge impact and being a great example to other youth around the country. So high five to him. Vernice, what's up?
Yo. Man, Ian, everything you just said, I was like, holy, forgive me here, people. Holy shit. That's crazy. There's no reason, like for 20 months, like that your just stuff hasn't gone crazy. And the fact that you talked to Ron today is, so my win is talking to Ron today. That's my win, Ron, was talking to you, because I knew after having my speaking business for 17 going on 18 years, my keynote fee started out at 2,500. Now it's 50K for a 45 or 60-minute keynote. I do like 2 or 3 a month, but I decided, okay, I want to ramp it up a little bit, and I want to put more AI into my process. So today, when you and I connected, and because I just joined SpeakerHub like a week ago, and it's crazy the stuff that SpeakerHub can do and what it's capable of. And I've been out here for, like I said, almost 18 years. And to look at this stuff, it's like anybody who's joining the speaker game right now, SpeakerHub is such a game changer. Like, it's going to change my speaking operations, if you will, right? For the sales and the pipeline stuff, like how you can track people that come to the website, get their information, send them an email, then your SpeakerHub already creates the pitch, whether it's a podcast, a conference, or an association. I mean, it just takes so much of the hard work out of it. And it can be systematized where every single day I'm going to do 10 outbounds or 20 outbounds, or somebody who's just getting started and they have an open calendar, 50 outbounds every single day. I mean, it's a game changer. So my win today was just seeing what's possible with the systems that you have in place that can connect with my LinkedIn, my website, my email, and my pipeline creation. Done, and done.
Yeah.
Angela, I see you smiling over there. Yeah, I'm excited.
No, it's
It's
huge,
called a rain.
huge opportunity. And I think one of the cool things that that Vernice mentioned is that where she started from, right? And everybody usually wants to skip that 2,500 thing, right? For how many years, Vernice, were you at that range?
So
Or
I
how
even
much
got
time?
to
It could have been
2,500
a
because
week, but how much time did you spend? Because you just don't go from I've never
it
spoken
was
to
probably, well, I did a couple presentations when I was in the Marine Corps, when I was still in the service, right? So when I got out, an executive said, well, how much do you charge? And I said, 2,500. I thought that was a lot of money, right? And I was like, that sounded decent to me. And I went to a Les Brown event like a couple months later, and one of the speakers asked me, well, how much are you charging? I was like, 2,500. She was like, what? That's it? I was like, I thought that was a lot. She was like, you should be at least charging $5,000. I was like, oh my God. I didn't even think anybody would pay that amount of money, right? And she was like, actually, don't say 5,000, say 5,500, because it ends in 100, so it feels different to people. 5,500. I remember her saying that, 5,500. I was like, okay, I could do that. 5,500. So I started at 5,500, and they still try to negotiate me down. They negotiated me down from 2,500, and I think the first one was 17 something. And at 5,500, they negotiated me down. There's not a single price point where clients haven't tried to negotiate you down. But what happened is when I was at 5,500 and people were trying to negotiate at a certain point, I'm like, well, it should be 75. And in that moment, I raised my fee to 7,500, right? Then I felt good about that. Then after a while, they're negotiating. I was like, well, it should be 10K. Then I raised my fee to 10K. And each time I've raised my fee up until 17.5, it was, well, it should be. I couldn't raise the fee until I believed I was worth it, right? It's sales is all a self-worth thing. You can't charge what you don't believe in for yourself. Then I was married and my wife was like, yeah, you should be charging 22.5. I was like, oh my God, are you sure? So she was taking over sales at that point. She raised it. I've subsequently got divorced. And I was like, well, shoot, if I'm getting divorced and I told the judge I'm going to be home with the kids more, I got to raise my fee to 30K. I was scared shitless. I raised it to 30K and people didn't even hardly blink. I was like, this is crazy. And it's deep because I wouldn't have ever raised my fee to 30K off the bat like that. I would have gone to 25 before I went to 30, right? Then I got with a speaker agency and I raised it to and this is like 3 years ago. I raised it to 32, then 34, 38. They did incremental stuff. Then I said, okay, I'm not doing those small jumps anymore. I'm just going to 50, because at that point I was speaking 6 to 8 times a month, and I wanted to speak less but make more. So I raised it to 50 and said I'm only doing 3 keynotes a month. So that's over an 18-year timeline, right? So like I was probably at 10K for a year or two, 15K a year or two, 17.5 a year or two, 25.5 a year or two, right? Does it have to go like that? No, it doesn't have to be incremental like that. Say you land a big spot on TV, or your book goes bestseller and you got a lot of press, and it doesn't have to go up just a little bit. And no matter what, how you believe in yourself is what you can sell. Here's the question. Have you ever gone to buy something and you could tell the salesperson was new and they were nervous? And when they said the price, they didn't even believe it was worth it. So you're like, well, shoot, you don't even believe I'm not gonna pay that, right? So if somebody says what's your fee, and you're like, well, what's your budget? Like I have a whole thing on, like, I don't do that. I just say, hey, this is the fee, here's the contract, here's this. What questions do you have, right? And people can hear the confidence when I talk about my keynote, what I deliver and what we can do together, where that the fee is not in question. It's, am I the right solution for them? So I'll stop right there because I get passionate about sales, kind of like Ron. The confidence is
You
everything.
can keep going, because I think you hit it right on the head. I was talking to AJ yesterday, and AJ said, man, I remember all of the sales calls you did where you were given lifetime access to SpeakerHub. Well, this is before we owned SpeakerHub, to PitchDB for $97.
Mm.
Right? The same program that we sell for $8,000 today was $97 in February of 2020. Right? Why? Because I hadn't demonstrated the value yet to
Right.
myself. Right? As I begin to demonstrate the value more, I'm like, oh no, I know this is getting people booked. I got to raise the price. Right? And because the value matters to yourself first before everybody else. Right? There are a lot of people who are gorgeous, and I always use dating because it's easy and it's what we all know. There are a lot of people who are gorgeous with low self-esteem. And we're like, dude, he's with that person or she's with that person. Why? We kind of judge it, right? But it's because of their own self-belief. And I'm a firm believer that confidence, your selling is a transfer of confidence from you to the person that's purchasing from you.
And here's the thing, Ron. What I've really discovered is you can't be confident until you have clarity, until you're clear. So one of the things that impressed me with SpeakerHub a couple of days ago when I was filling out my profile is I put in all the information and then boom, it spit out a bio. Boom, it spit out this, it spit out that. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. So a newbie person can come in, like Ian, you can put your story, you can put what you do, what you talk about, and then it can give you a keynote description and the takeaways. Like that was the biggest part that I struggled with in the beginning, was how to translate what I believe the outcomes and takeaways were that potential clients would want, that they would want to pay for, right? So once you get clear on, this is what I do, these are the results. If you believe in your results, it's not selling, you're being of service. Because if they need this, then they need you. Then there's no gap. When there's a gap is when you want that client, but I don't know what I'm going to sell them, or I don't know exactly what's my talk going to be about for them, right? Or if somebody says, hey, do you speak on customer service? And you're like, yes. And then you hang up and you go to ChatGPT and say, how to speak on customer service, right? If that's not your wheelhouse, if that's not your powerhouse, if you don't know, it's a lot harder to be confident about things you don't know. Period. End of story.
Yeah. So one of the things I want to bring up on that too is, so I've been speaking for 4 years, but for that time I was doing it just out of a desire to completely be of service. And I've also found that same pattern where when you're being of service and you're just trying to help them solve that problem, people are so glad to bring you in. Because what I speak on is teen mental health. So that's something that it's a very complex subject when you're reading these books on psychology, because they use the technical jargon, such as things like your prefrontal cortex. A 15-year-old has no idea what that is. But one of the ways I've been able to show my value to principals and people who can book me is explaining that I can simplify those complex subjects in a way where teens can actually learn and benefit and get the value.
I think you make a great point, Lawrence, and definitely Vernice. I mean, the ability to get people to understand that you're helping them to solve a problem, the lives that you're able to change, what value does that have on it, right? The same group that will kind of scoff at a person that they don't have confidence that can provide the value. They'll say, I don't have $7,000. We'll go and find $150,000 for Tony Robbins. They'll go find $1 million for this other person. So you have to be able to, and that's why we always tell you, speakers speak, right? Speakers are speaking. We're talking about Vernice, and I use this as an example. 40% of speakers who we've surveyed did less than 5 gigs last year, right? But Vernice is doing 6 to 8 a month at $30,000 to $50,000. So we know that you can do 6 to 8 at $1,000. You can do 6 to 8 at $2,000. Now, here's the big question. How much outreach were you doing at the beginning, Vernice? That would be my question is, okay, you're getting these gigs, but are they just finding you? Or at the beginning, were you doing outreach? Because you talk about the pain and the ease that we make it. What's the point of reference of how do you know our thing is so much easier than what you were doing?
So 18 years ago, it was old school, right? Like Facebook didn't exist. All social media, that stuff wasn't here yet. I feel so old right now. I'll be 52 this year. So it was a lot of networking. I went to a lot of events, and I remember when I was just getting out of the Marine Corps, I was a cop before that, so I'd worn uniforms my whole life. And these women who were part of this networking group took me under their wing, and I went to 3 networking events in like a week. And I remember going to my closet and saying, oh my God, I don't have anything else to wear, right? So I had to figure out how to dress and stuff. But the bottom line is I was out there, I was meeting people. It was face to face, which we all know it's a lot easier to convert when you're face to face. And let me throw this out there. I wasn't saying, hi, my name is Vernice and I'm a speaker, book me. It was, hey, how you doing? What's your thing? Like, I didn't throw up on their feet, right? I call it throw up when somebody, oh, well, what do you do? And next thing you know, you're throwing up everything. Oh, well, I talk to kids about the neofrontal cortex and how the reptilian brain takes over and you do stuff it doesn't until you're 25. Like, it wasn't that, right? It was, you come up with some cool line like, I show kids how to be courageous adults. Oh, well, how do you do that? Right? Now they've engaged, they've raised their eyebrow, like, oh, now they're interested, they're engaged, and you can really have a conversation, right? One guy, I asked him, oh, well, what is it that you do? And he's like, well, have you ever seen somebody with a knee injury and they get in that big machine, MRI? I was like, yeah. It's like, well, I show people how to do blah, blah, blah with the images and we sell those machines. It was a great in. He didn't just say we sell x-ray machines, right? He made it relatable where now we're still having a conversation because my mom had a knee replacement, my dad had a knee replacement, blah, 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 right? At another networking event. People don't network as much now as they used to, but I'm right now in Vegas at a conference, Women of Power Summit. And I know I am going to walk away from here with contacts that where people say, oh my God, I want to bring you in to speak. Like, 100% shadow without a doubt. There are going to be executive women here who say, wow, I want to learn how to package my expertise and get paid for what I know, right? To start, because they want to start speaking and being consultants. Like, I know this for a fact because this is how I built my business. And with SpeakerHub and the pitches and stuff now, it's going to be a two-prong. It's a rainmaker. Like, you are consistently creating your pipeline, consistently creating your pipeline. And now there's social media. There's just no way not to win if you get out there, you create clarity, and you do it consistently.
No, thank you so much. So I want to share something with you guys because I think this is something that we all just have to work on, right? So a couple of weeks ago, we talked about how do you tell a story? How do you tell your story, right? You got 10 seconds, you got 30 seconds, and then you got 3 minutes, right? So you got the 10-second aha that Vernice was talking about. You got the 30 seconds, a little bit more. Hey, you know those machines? That's the 10 seconds, right? Hey, I help people to do this with that. That's the 30 seconds. What ends up happening is that a lot of our comments and the way that we do things, they go on for 8 minutes. And people are like, dude, you lost me 30 seconds ago, but they don't want to tell you, right? So they don't want to tell you, hey, look, wrap it up, B. They don't want to say that to you. So you just keep going on and on. So we've created something that helps you with that, right? So I'm going to share that with you because if you have SpeakerHub Pro, all you do is you go into your branding kit and you go down to frameworks. And when you go down to frameworks, you're going to get something called the value proposition framework. You see that, right? So I'm going to hit rewrite so you can see that it's going to rewrite it for me and what I do. But this value proposition framework gives you the 10-second and the 30-second thing of what you do. All right, so here it is, right? What's your value prop? Look, I help speakers that are seeking to shine. I help them to stand out. I can just say that. Well, how? I connect you with the right stages, podcasts, and media that match your style and expertise. Oh, that's dope. Man, that's pretty cool. Yeah, you can turn speaking into a career by boosting your visibility and creativity or whatever. Whether you're a keynote speaker, author, entrepreneur. You see, I got the 5 seconds to get in, then I got the 30 seconds that I can go into when they ask for, when I get the, oh, wow, now I can go into the rest of this. Now, you're not stuck using this. Some of these words I wouldn't use, but I can go in and I can edit it to get it to my stuff. But we gave you the base cake, right? So the things that we teach or the frameworks that we've built comes from my 4,600 interviews with speakers and hearing them talk about how they do it and just basic sales process. And I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I'll say it here. A lot of times we say, hey, introduce yourself. And it's 9 minutes. And I'm like, wrap it up, B. And then you start seeing people turn off their cameras. You're like, this person has no idea that they just lost the audience. Now, we're speakers. We are speakers. We got to be good at this stuff. If we can't tell people what we do in 10 seconds or 30 seconds, how the heck can I explain what I do in 45 minutes effectively to keep the audience's attention? So I'm talking overall because we all can get better at it. But I think it's a great point to hear it from someone who's making 50 grand per speech and doing 6 of those, right? And she just doesn't have to click to reach out to introduce herself. She has to get dressed, get in a car, fly to Vegas. Now, think about that. Think of the investment that she's making by flying to Vegas to network. She's not there to speak. She's there to network with potential people that could book her. There's levels to the game, guys, and you're complaining about the first level, right? Again, I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm not an inspirational speaker. I'm a perspirational speaker. We got to get to work. If we really believe in this, we got to get to work. This is what we do. I show my calendar for a reason because I go to work 7 in the morning every day and I get done at 8 and I'm back to back. And I introduce one person from one call to the next group. I introduced Vernice to the call before that. I had a little bit of gap. Ian, you want to come to the next meeting? That's why Ian's here. I'm back to back. So I don't feel sorry for y'all. When y'all say, well, I had to do this, who cares? Get your ass to work, because that's what's on the other side of your dream. Now, that's my soapbox for the day, but I'm telling you, there's so much more happiness on the other side of it. That little bit of pain, so much more happiness and fulfillment on the other side, because you're finally getting to do what you've been hiding. Imagine having a message and you putting it in a box, right? So, Cardis, I've seen you had your hand up for a few minutes. What's up?
Yeah, and I just wanted to ask, like, does everybody believe that the like life comes in full circle and it kind of like interloops? There was one time that I was going down to, I think it was Orlando, Florida, and I was going to a Tuskegee Airmen conference, and I left from school going to this Tuskegee Airmen conference. The airline lost my bag. I won't say which airline it was, but it's a very popular one. I will say that. Hopefully they come and ask me to speak at some point. But I lost my luggage. I couldn't change. I had to go right directly into the conference. So I'm wearing a football jersey because it was a Friday. Then the keynote speaker or the host or the person that's leading on the conversation of the conference says, "Does anybody feel like they're special?" And I was the only person in that audience that stood up and said, like, "Yes, I'm special." So he comes to me, he says, "Hey, like, come up on stage and tell your story." So I go up and tell my story, and I tell, like, "Hey, I flew to like all 50 states, and I was able to do this and that, and I'm going on to get my pilot's license and all these other things." But so coming out of that conversation, the first time I spoke to over 500 people impromptu, I met some interesting people. And one of those people was billionaire Willie Gary that time. And another person that I met that night that was actually speaking was this phenomenal helicopter pilot. I don't know how in the world I met this helicopter pilot. I don't know how the paths like linked together or whatever, but she actually talked to me and said this one thing that I'll never forget. She was like, "I'm fly girl, and then you, by the time that you get your pilot's license and everything, that you'll be fly boy." And I will never forget that conversation. I'll never forget the impact that night had on me. This little boy in a football jersey meeting the fly girl.
Man, don't be getting me emotional over here. Stop.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember that day or not, but that's something that I remember, and I'll never forget that. So we definitely got to connect. It's crazy how all these years we kind of like found the right place at the right time. So thanks, Ron.
That's
But
crazy.
this is why y'all got to get your asses on stage, because you just never know. We talk about it. Be the leader you needed. This is what we say every day. Somebody out there needs your leadership just like you did. I had no idea. Like I heard about Vernice 8 months ago from Lethia. She said, "I got somebody. I think this is going to be great." She happens to show up 7 months later on a meeting last week. She's like, "Look, we got to figure this out. I'm ready. I was on the challenge. I got to come." Right. But 5 years ago, when Cardis was playing Pee Wee Pop Warner football, right? He goes to a speech and he wants to be a pilot. And you just never know who's listening to you. As the song says, "Stop, the life you save may be your own." Because we don't know what Vernice needs to hear about whether she's being effective. Yeah, she's making money, but that goes away. She can lose that shit tomorrow. But the effect that she's had on Cardis to inspire the next generation, priceless. Remember the American Express, this $89, this $49, this priceless. What just happened here? Priceless. There will be some other person that will make it back from Bart's speech this weekend that he was complaining about last night that says that speech kept me alive. That's why we do this. Again, I wish I could fake it, but I can't, because I still remember the guy who gave a speech on the bus to the Million Man March. I wouldn't have been able to buy businesses if he didn't teach me that there was a such thing as a savings account and a money market account. This is the basic fundamental of what we do. We talk to change lives. We don't just do it for the money. We're going to get paid, but we do it to change lives. Ian, somebody out there who's, look, last month, my uncle had a stroke while he was driving, totaled his car. Today at 3 o'clock, he goes for the MRI. He's blind. He wasn't blind while he was driving. 2 weeks later, my brother-in-law is in ICU still today, had a stroke, can't use the left side of his body. My conversation with you was hope that they can fully recover. So maybe you didn't speak to a whole group, but I looked at your GoFundMe, saw how much money they raised for you, saw how many people loved you. That was enough for me. That was enough for me because I got two people that I care about. My brother-in-law is in ICU. My uncle's going for his MRI to make sure that he can recover better. He can't see. I called him this morning. He's looking at the phone. He can't see nothing. I said, dude, you look like this dude. I want to see you this phone. He said, man, I still can't see. And I forget. So you may not have talked to a large audience, but you spoke to me. This is the hope that we give with our voices, just to show your life, Ian, is already an example. Just get in front of more people, bro.
Ron, I appreciate you saying that, and I'd be happy to speak to your family personally to give them some advice on how to overcome, stroke and what comes along with it. I appreciate you saying that.
Look, I'll introduce you to my sister because she's the caregiver. I'll introduce you to my aunt, my mom, who's taking care of my uncle.
Happy to help.
Yeah, dude, just to say, hey, look, I'm an example. You ain't got to say nothing, but hey, I'm okay. I made it through.
And if they need proof, I filmed the entire experience.
There it is.
Even the stroke itself in the emergency room. So another aspect of my story that I want to speak on is the negative impact that judgment has on each other, our peers and our fellow humans. I was wrongfully accused of being intoxicated, and therefore they didn't treat me for 6 hours with a 100% blockage. Even after the test came back negative, blood alcohol 0.0, all the other stuff, they still denied that I was having a stroke because, let's face it, I'm white, I'm attractive, I'm a male, I have all of the all of the what are they called when they work to your advantage? Privilege. Sorry, guys. I have all of the privileges, every single one. I have a hot wife. I'm 40. I look good. But I received judgment. And in those moments, having a photographic memory, that's really at the basis for things that are impacting people from really connecting with each other is judgment. So that's just another thing.
Yeah, Ian, I mean, dude, you're in the right place. If you want to be around speakers that are doing the damn work, you're in the right place, right? Sweet. So you're welcome here any day. Get to using the program you've paid for 3 months. Hopefully, this inspires you to keep going. We got to get you on more stages, man. People need your help.
Definitely. Like I said, I was going to cancel, but talking to you today, I think I'll give another shot and reach out to podcasts. I mean, I've been saying for a while, I'm ready to talk. Yeah, share this and help people all over the place.
Yeah, I'll turn on the associations because I think you need to go talk to some live folks so that they can see. I think going to caretakers, associations, and things like that where they can see. It's just the hope that my family member can get better. You ain't gotta say nothing. Just say, yo, I survived. Your person can too. That should be your speech. Drop the mic and go home.
Yep.
Right? Because that's all we're looking for is just hope that our people will be okay. Right? So, Bonnie, what's up? I see your hand up.
Man, y'all are making me cry over here. Starting with Cardis and then over to Vernice and over your uncle and your brother-in-law and Ian. Oh my Jesus. Okay, I just have a nuts and bolts question.
Let's
After
do it.
all that.
That's
It's just a
that's part
nuts and
of it
bolts
too.
question. So, looking at, hi, sweetie, don't knock that over. Looking at in my mailbox, right? At the bottom of the emails that go out to our prospects is the blue click for website. Everybody has that?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. So I would much rather that go to my speaker page than my than my website.
Yep. So you can put both. So if you go ahead, I'm going to share the screen with you and I'll show you where you control this.
All
So
right.
inside
Thanks.
of your branding kit here, there's my brand. And then when you come down, it says LinkedIn, website, SpeakerHub profile, which is your speaker page, and then any YouTube videos. We put all of those down at the bottom if you put them in there.
Oh, okay. So
So
I
you can see here, look here. See my LinkedIn is there. Boom. My website, boom. My phone number that was there previously that I
that's it.
took out. All of that is there. You see that?
Yeah, yeah, now I see. I did not plug that in
Yep. Go ahead and
on
put
that
that in and it'll plug them in for you. Make
level.
sense?
Okay. Okay. And
Cool.
my other question is when you were showing the frameworks stuff that you were writing,
Mhm.
where can you just show me on the profile where a prospect sees that?
The prospect does not see your frameworks at all. Those
Oh,
frameworks are for you to take to the stage with you, right? It's for your personal message development. In the future, what will happen, and Maria is working on that, after you get a meeting booked, it'll give you the frameworks for that meeting, and you'll be able to copy and paste that in your follow-up email to let them know, hey, here's some of the things I plan on talking about during the call or whatever, right? Or here's some ideas. Or you don't even have to email them. You can keep them and bring them up during the meeting so it sounds a bit more spontaneous. But we're giving you that. Let me share it with you. I'll show you what it'll look like. She's fully designed this already, and this will be out in the next week or so. Let me bring it over. And then we're going to get into the topic that we were supposed to talk about yesterday, but we didn't get into it. So let me zoom in. 1 second. Daggone thing won't move over. Hold on. Let me go out and come back in. All right. So app design open this month. Perfect. All right. So here's the screen. You all should see Figma, right? So let's go to it's the roadmap. Nope. All right. So here we go. 1 second. All right. So inside of here, Maria, where are you when I need you? Because I can't find what I'm looking for. Oh, here it is, right here. Okay. Perfect. Got to zoom out because you got too much stuff. But basically, what it is in the email sequence, what's going to happen is that it will automatically start writing your, it'll automatically give you the frameworks. And I can't find it, so I won't be able to show you. Shoot.
that's okay. I mean, what you're
But
saying,
the gist of it, it'll be out. I promise you. I just had it up, but I can't find it. I wish Maria was here. She has too many daggone pages she's designed. But Jasmine, but yeah, right now it doesn't give you the specifics, gives you some generic things. But in the next 2 weeks, you will be able to, once you mark something as booked, we will give you the suggestions for that booked meeting and booked the topics that you should go and talk about. Does that make sense?
yeah, I get it. Thank you
Right.
so much.
Yep. But the key first is pitch more, pitch more, pitch more. I'm gonna keep
Yeah,
pushing you. Keep going.
yeah.
All right.
I'm pitching and I want that. I didn't want it to go to my other website. So now that's a step I need to fix and I can do that right now. Thank you.
Yep. Cool.
Hey, Ronnie.
Any Jasmine? Oh, 1 second. Here it is. I found it. I found it. So I can show you guys.
Okay.
So this is the future function. Zoom in. Right. And see if I can slide over. How do I get over there? Dang it. There it is. Finally, The Rock has come to St. Louis. So after you get something booked, it's going to say time to secure the gig. Get speaking topics that you can share with this contact. So you can see on this one, it says the Iowa Association of Business and Industry. You see that, Bonnie?
I do.
So now the AI is going to go ahead and write topics that you can present to that association.
That is sweet.
Right? This will be out in 2 weeks. It's in testing right now, but this is the new mailbox update. This will be out in probably 2 weeks, where after you book a meeting, we're going to give you the topics to talk to them about.
I can
This is
I like
cheating,
on that.
okay? It's totally cheating, right?
Yes.
All right. So
Thank
Jasmine,
you.
yep, no problem. Jasmine,
That's
60
that's
seconds. We
when
got
that's I
60
wouldn't call it
seconds.
I wouldn't call it cheating. I would, it's just a helping hand along. And when I say you are making it very easy for us to do what we need to do. You're taking away all the hurdles that everyone would have to make it, you do what you need to do. And in my little talk here is for Ian to say, first of all, congratulations, and I'm happy. I'm in the health and wellness space most of my life. And years ago, I mean, it used to be that people just pay attention. They would say the African American community is prone to the stroke, and which it still is. Now they've taken away that, and it's just a broad spectrum that everyone is having, stroke, heart attacks, and and it's all due to, some of it is environmental, some of it is stress, some of it's a whole gamut of what contributes to that. So Ian, with something like that, I'm passionate, as you know, Ron, about wellness. I've been in it, and it's not any traumatic experience. I've seen lives change, right? But you have been there, you've done that. You have a message that you should be standing on the mountaintop, because everyone needs to hear it, every single person. And the age limit is coming down. Every time I look on my phone in TMZ, this one died. Oh, we'll wait for, oh, they had a stroke. Oh, had a heart attack. Oh, so you have a message. Believe me, you stick with, I'm not saying this, Ron hasn't spoken to me. I just piped up when I hear you, because I've listened to those symptoms and seen those statistics, not only in my own family. My brother, on my birthday 2.5 years ago, died from an accident and a brain bleed, and he recovered and was at rehab, and rehab, they said, don't let him walk alone by himself. So he got up, nobody paid attention. He fell, hit his head and the other side, and we lost him, right? So it's not a sad story, Ian. It's an amazing story to let people know, like Ron's family know, that there is hope and we can all literally heal ourselves. You did it. And you
Amen.
can go out and talk about it.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what you look like, man,
No.
woman, Chinese, African American, Native American, everybody's got the power.
Yes. And, we got to fight to stay alive, or water. Everything is, everything is killing us. So we got to fight to stay alive.
Agreed.
Okay.
Thanks.
So, welcome to the group.
Thanks.
Thanks for the encouragement, Jasmine. So guys, we got 5 minutes left in the normal session, and then my next meeting is at 1:10. Yesterday we talked about, and we're probably not going to be able to do it justice, but today was worth it, what we talked about. But I want to cover the 3 functions of a speaker, right? So one of them we've already covered, which is sales and marketing. We've given you the tools to make sales easier than ever. And then Vernice added the live networking part, right? But it's a proactive thing. Nobody's sitting at home waiting to be discovered. Does that make sense? You gotta have the courage, number one, to be able to talk to people and deal with some of the rejection from those who don't understand. But the reception from those that do understand what you're trying to do is what makes it worth it, right? So let's talk about those 3 different functions. The first one that I mentioned is sales and marketing, right? This is in every business. You're going to have sales and marketing, product, and operations. Now, most of us like to focus on the thing that we're really good at. I'm a salesperson, so I don't have a problem with focusing on sales. But you know what? I can't code. So I got Ezekiel on my team to deal with product. But you all are speakers. Your product is your voice and your intellectual property. So a lot of times you would rather keep writing your speech or keep working on your framework. But if you're not marketing and selling it, nobody ever hears it. So you got the most beautiful speech that's keeping you poor. Does that make sense? So we got to get product along with sales and marketing. But after you do that, somebody has to run the business, right? You got to have the operation side of the business. One of the stories I love to tell is how Angela and her team ended up working with me. I was really good at selling, and I push everything towards sales. Everything is a sales problem because I've never seen a business go out of business because they made too much money. I've seen them go out of business because they didn't make enough. So that will never be my problem, right? You can ask all my friends. I ain't never borrowed a dime because I can sell, right? So I go to selling first. That was my thing. Ange was like, look, I got all these blueprints and it do this, and I hired a company to do that. And I'm like, Ange, how many customers you got? She was like, but I got these things. I'm like, Ange, you got 5 employees to pay. You better drive some more sales. And she was like, but I got this cool thing and it does this and it does that. Cool. I got something even cooler. I got all of these sales and I can't handle them. Can you join us? Bring your team and we'll figure this out. Come over and help us. I need somebody to run operations, right? So depending on the size of organization you're trying to build, you won't be able to do this by yourself. I'm sure Venice isn't doing this by herself. She probably has some team members that are working on things for her. But if you're doing it by yourself, you have to learn to compartmentalize your day so that you get the 3 functions done. If you don't have any product, like meaning you're delivering, you're out speaking, you should just be doing sales. Sales and marketing is your only priority if you don't have any speaking gigs. So when I hear people with no speaking gigs say, man, I got to spend 30 minutes a day doing this, I'm like, what else are you doing? You ain't got no gigs. You should be sending 1,000 pitches. But I don't want to tell you that because I don't want to offend you. But now I don't really care because I want you to be on stage. You got to get out there, right? Because it's doing more harm. Like, let me say it this way. This is the cool thing, right? I love these meetings, right? But this ain't the only stage you should be speaking on. Let me say it again. I love these meetings, but this ain't the only stage you should be speaking on, meaning this call. There are other people who need to hear your message. Your message goes a lot further when you're out doing it. The people who are on here getting booked, people listen when they talk. Because they're like, whoa, this person's been on this many stages. They use it and they getting booked. People, Bart say something, people like, what Bart got to say? Right? Because when Bart talking about results. He's talking about a gig he was on. He's talking about some things that he's gotten. Right? So as a show your work company, just keep that in mind. That people want to, this is a support call, but at the same time, just like your clients and the people in the audience, they listen more when you've done it. Does that make sense? They pay attention more to you when you've done it. This can't be your only stage. We give you freedom to talk about different things and to share your opinion and to give your advice about different things. But just know the people listening, they say, how many gigs this person do? They ain't never, when we do the reports in the daytime, they ain't never talked about a stage they've been on. So I want to make sure that we know we're going to hold you accountable to it because you're holding us accountable to whether our systems work. But I got to hold you accountable for the audience who isn't here to ask for your message. Is that fair? So if you ain't got no gigs, be pitching. Should be pitching, right? Got to be pitching. So that's the sales and marketing advice. Pitch more.
We have gigs, man. We've got gigs and gigs.
Again, I'm not talking about anybody in particular. I'm just saying, overall, there's a lot more doing nothing than what there are pitches being sent. Unless you figured out how to run Facebook ads to get gigs, or you figured out how to do Google ads to get gigs, most of us aspire to make more money from speaking. So my job as the perspiration speaker, the coach, is to push you. Just like Angie's basketball coach did, just like Cardis's high school football coach did, just like AJ's Division I football coach did. Your coach is to push you. I ain't a teacher. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Tell people to get over the rejection that you were talking about, Ron. I think that's a big piece of it.
Yeah, we call it eating the shit sandwich, right? You just got to eat it because it just grows. So you may as well eat it fast.
Can I ask something, Ron?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I told you that I had kind of lived the American dream before this whole stroke thing, and I had a very, very, very successful construction business. My win rate on jobs was about 22 to 25%. So in all reality, I heard no 75% of the time. You want this? No. You want this? No. You want this? No. And then I would win. Yeah. But I just had to be okay with that. Is that the same in the speaking world? I mean, not percentage wise, but like get used to no. And then the yes will come along, basically.
It's exactly the same because you're selling. You're selling. They got to make a choice between this speaker that's wanting it, this speaker that's wanting it, this speaker that's wanting it. All of them can't get it.
No.
Right? So they got to hear no. But the thing about it, as long as I know my number, if I know my pitch number, that every 7 pitches I send, I get a meeting, and every 3 meetings I take, I get a gig, then now I don't really care because I know what my numbers are.
Yep.
Right? So, you know, what Ann McNeil is maybe the most experienced business person on here because she's just playing the numbers. And she can tell me at any time, Janessa and Michelle can tell me at any time, hey, we sent this many pitches. This is how many responses we got. She went on this many. And I'm like, okay, she gets it, right? Because they're not caught up in the numbers that it takes. They're caught up in the outcomes that she wants. Does that make sense? So I want to really focus on this sales thing because you really can't do operations if you ain't sold nothing. You really don't have any accounting to do. You really don't have anything else to do besides present the product. Does that make sense? So at the beginning, I got to sell. I got to pitch more. I got to get in front of more people. Got to tell more people about what I do. How many of you all are trustworthy?
Yep.
How many of you all are likable? Right? So that just means you're not known. If we say people want to buy from people they know, like, and trust, if you're trustworthy and you're likable, just tell more people about your stuff. You're just unknown. Is that logical or am I crazy? Because that's all I do. I just tell people about our stuff. I'm everywhere. Yo, you want to come over? Yep. You want to come? Brian O's, you want? Yep. I never say no. I say yes to everything. I'll figure it out. I will figure it out. Why? Because I got to get more people on stage. So if you're not speaking, you should be selling. Once you get more gigs, then you need the accounting and the operations and all these other things. But until you got some bread, you really ain't got much else to do. Why? Because a lot of these things, what contract is there to manage without a speaking gig? We playing with CRMs and all these things, but we ain't pitching enough. Well, I got to set up. No, you don't. You ain't got no travel. I gotta get it. No, you don't need an assistant. You can do this yourself until you make enough money to pay the assistant. So I know, but these are the 3 functions: sales and marketing. That's revenue generation, product creation. This is what we've all mastered. And this is what we fall back into. I'm working on my speech. I'm working on how I'm going to describe this. I'm fixing my LinkedIn. I'm fixing my social media. I'm fixing all of that. For who? Did they even ask you for that? For who? Who you fixing it for? Just in case? That don't matter. You gotta do this stuff. Following up with past clients, building engagement, building an email list. How many of y'all got y'all own lives? How many of y'all do a live once a week? How many of you? How many? Put your hand up. I want to see. Jasmine is live, Cardis is live. Anybody else live once a week? Why not? You got it on your phone, it's in 4K. Just start practicing making content and getting your message out there. How else? LeBron James was playing basketball before he was in the NBA. Ange used to hoop on a milk crate. She showed me the milk crate they used to shoot on. Down here in Columbia, my son will play soccer with a bottle of Pepsi. He don't care. He kicking that bottle. He out with his friends. They kicking bottles, bottle caps. It don't matter. They gonna play soccer. But yet, as speakers, we're bottling up our messages. We're not presenting to our audience. You never know. Vernice didn't know she was impacting Cardis, and he would see her 20 years later down the road. She had no idea. But players gonna play. That's all I'm saying. That's my message for today, guys. We could go through those other 3 things, but they ain't important if you ain't selling. If you ain't on those stages, I don't need to talk about operations and how you book your flights. You ain't got no flights. Get some flights and we'll talk about it.
Hey, Ryan, it's Chantel here. I totally agree with that. On Monday, I was on a TV show. I'm actually about to log off. I got a radio show I'm about to do. And the radio show just contacted me. They wanted to get the link to my book. So I said, I already sent you guys that link, but I'm going to send it again. So I sent that link to them again. And they really fell in love with that part. And I have 2 TV shows that I'm doing next week. Next Monday, I'm actually going to be at the production studio. So it's going to be in person. I'm excited about that. I just have a lot of things going on. Sometimes I feel like I might take a little nap, a little power nap, but then when I wake back up, I am absolutely all the way invested. Nobody is going to outwork Chantel, and that's just it. I go to sleep, I wake up, I got 20 different emails from people getting right back into me. And my whole thing is this, even if I do get a no, they still have to reach out to me and tell me no. So I'm still getting somebody that connected with me. I'm still very humble. I let them know that's great. Here's an article that I just got published in this magazine. Here's my book that I just dropped. Here's a link to a YouTube I just was on. And they'll always email me back like, you know what, this is great. We're going to put you in the pool. Or what we're going to do this. This woman, she told me no about her conference, but then I told her, I was like, you know what, that's great. You just met a friend in San Francisco, California. She said, we don't even have a chapter in San Francisco. How would you feel about spearheading the chapter? I said, well, let's get on the phone and let's talk. So it's always ways to still collaborate and network with somebody. That no is just still an entry. The moment you contact me, now you're stuck in my ecosystem and we're going to find a way to work together. It may not be now, it may not be tomorrow, but we're going to find a way towards where we can collaborate, period.
No, that's a high five. So I'm going to tell the story that I think Vernice wanted me to share. When I was at Northwestern Mutual, we used to always talk about the telephone. This is before we had iPhones. The regular telephone weighed 10,000 pounds to make that first phone call of the day. And y'all remember the doctor phones that had the little pad on it for you to do like this? We used to have to make the phone calls with our office door open because they said it was like, dude, you put that phone off. If I walk past your office and I don't see you like this with this phone, making them phone calls for the day, you're going to have a problem, right? Because that was what we were required to do. We were required to make outbound phone calls. Now, I had to do 200 phone calls a day, and I had like 2 to 3 hours to do it. I would just be on the phone calling. I sent AJ a video this morning, and I thought I was doing good with 200 phone calls. AJ, how many phone calls is that dude doing this morning on that video?
2,000 phone calls a day.
2,000 a day. I only had to do it for 2 to 3 hours. He was on the phone for 12 hours a day selling investments. And he talked about the same process. Had my phone on my shoulder and I was doing it. And I'm like, dude, I get it. And when he said 2,000, I said, shit, I was lazy. I was lazy. But he did 2,000 calls a day. Now, why do I bring that up really quickly? 100 pitches on SpeakerHub used to be a lot. And then Say Ron came along, and Say Ron did 200 in a week. And we was like, holy smokes, somebody did 200 pitches in a week. And then Ann McNeil came on with Ann McNeil is the Army, better yet a Navy, and she brought all her troops. And she got 3 people that pitched for her every day. So she doing 100, 150 pitches a day. So we seeing 500 pitches in a week from Ann's team. We're like, oh, shoot, somebody has broken the glass ceiling that we set for ourselves. Now, I'm going to end this on a positive note. Last month was the highest pitches sent in SpeakerHub history. Last month, okay? We crossed the record. I was like, holy crap, these folks are listening to me, right? But we also cut our number of bookings down. We doubled our number of bookings. We went from a booking every 93 minutes to a booking every 51 minutes. I didn't do that. You all did by believing in yourself and your message. High freaking five. We set February was the record. We're going to see if we can do it again in March. All right. But I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep adding new members. I'm going to keep pushing and encouraging you all to pitch. I want to get us down to where we're getting a booking every 7 minutes by June. But it only comes by getting more people on stage. So that's my call to action today. Keep pitching, guys. Pitch more. If you're not speaking, you should be selling. Let me say it again. If you're not speaking, you should be selling. There will always be a great excuse not to send the pitch, but never a good reason. We saw that today. Ian, Vernice, Cardis, you just never know who you're talking to. I didn't know I needed Ian's meeting until I got on the call with him. And I'm looking, I'm like, dude, this dude did a stroke. GoFundMe. I'm looking at him in the bed. I'm looking at him all messed up. I'm like, holy crap, these are the same pictures my mom sent me of my uncle. So you just never know who you're impacting. Sorry for the soapbox. I know y'all get tired of me, but I don't get tired of y'all. We gotta help more people. All right. My next meeting should be here in the next 3 minutes. Larry Lundy, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself before we hop off? I think you're the only person who we don't know here. Go ahead and, if you can turn on your camera so people know who you are. This is Larry Lundy from LMG Management. He manages a bunch of athletes. I don't want to bury the lead. I'll let you go ahead.
No, Ron, thank you and Angela for inviting me on. I have a lot of athletes that need to be speaking like you guys, and I'll be right behind them after I get the product and book and all that. But like you said, so I'm learning on the fly to make sure that our speakers are getting booked, like Butch Reynolds, a 5-time gold medalist, Olympian, world record holder. So if you guys can do it, I can say, hey, Fly Girl, she's doing 6 to 8 a month, Butch. So if I'm doing that for him, he won't have an excuse. So I'm learning all the tools. And I'm glad to be here, and congratulations to everybody who's taking the lead.
Yeah, I want to introduce you to AJ. AJ, remember I told you the guy that works with Justin Gatlin. AJ Vasher that's on the call works with Justin using SpeakerHub. So you all should connect outside here. I'll text, or Ange, can you connect them for me? I think that's another good path to know someone else who's booking for another Olympian. So, all right, guys. Larry, good to see you. Let us know if you need anything from us. Ange, can you connect AJ and Larry? Cardis, I'll connect you and Fly Girl so y'all can have y'all reunion, whatever y'all gonna go on y'all reunion tour. But a thank you is always in order to all of you all. Bart, good to see you. And Bonnie, we just coaching. We ain't screaming at you. We just coaching. We want you to win, baby. Keep doing the good work. We're gonna keep going.
You know it.
Thanks,
And
Ron.
Ian,
Thanks, everybody.
don't cancel that account, Ian. I promise you, don't do it. This is the worst mistake you could make.
All right.
You're in the right place. You found your people.
Sir, thank you.
All right. Talk to you later, guys.
Bye.